It's been barely 4 months since the novel coronavirus was first reported in Wuhan, China, and already the outbreak has progressed to a global pandemic. We've got over 400,000 now. No doubt the development is having a huge impact on every aspect of Ghana's economy, especially the hospitality sector. In this edition of AM Business, my colleague Charles Aite and Odilia Ntiamwa put all in proper perspective.
Empty chairs, lonely poles, dull conference halls. This is what you see upon visiting the Accra Marriott Hotel. This is unusual but expected as the coronavirus pandemic escalates worldwide.
It's been tough. Business has been really bad. We're almost in single digits now.
For hotel managers like Frank Eduardo, this unexpected lean season has left hotels with no option but to cut down the costs.
Currently, we haven't laid anybody off, but we predict that people will start going on leave soon, so that it gives the operation the time to recover. But as you can see, there's business is very low. So if you have, say, single digits percentage, and you have over 100 staff, then the ratio doesn't match, and it costs a lot. There's electricity, there's water bills, there's so many things that have to be paid for. So it just makes sense that the numbers are reduced.
On a good day, this art gallery of Marriott Hotels Accra is filled with so many people, guests, businessmen and women, and corporate Ghana. They come here to have their various conferences and even events, but you can see for yourself how empty and dark the whole place is. This is a stark reality that various hotels across the country are facing amid the coronavirus pandemic. They're calling for some interventions. They're calling for governments to intervene in this particular crucial moment when their business is on the brink of collapse. The hospitality sector is the most exposed when it comes to the transmission of the coronavirus. Marketing and Communications Manager for the Accra Marriott Hotel, Frank Eduardo, says even though exposure is rife, security has been beefed up for staff and guests.
We have put measures in place that help. So, for example, everybody knows that every 20 minutes they have to wash their hands, right? It's not something that we take lightly. Every 20 minutes, go wash your hands for 20 seconds. Because the virus, would still be on your hands, or will not be completely killed if you don't wash for 20 seconds. So that education is going down, and it's going down very well. And we are encouraging all department heads to make sure that is being done. And aside that, we have, as you said, you don't talk about sanitizers, but they are very important at this time. So there are sanitizers everywhere. Before you enter the hotel, you have to sanitize, and you come in. And the good thing is that we're looking at your travel history. There are a few questions we ask you when you get to the front desk to see where you've been. So that in case there's anything, we have the ready available information for the health workers. So we're doing our best to make sure that everything goes well, following all the guidelines that have been set out to make sure that your stay is comfortable.
The damage that COVID-19 will have on the hospitality industry is immeasurable. Already, Joy Business has learned that some hotels have considered running shifts or even laying off contract workers, if not closing down completely, just so to manage the cost of operating amid empty rooms and cancelled events. So now we do know how much of an impact the coronavirus is having, especially on the hotels industry. But let's flip the coin to explore how busy the virus has left some particular industries, especially the pharmaceutical sector. Well, here at the Joy Business Newsroom, my colleague Odilia Ntiamwa has been in close contact with these pharmaceutical players to explore how much of an impact it's really having on their business.
Well, in this joint report, or in this joint documentary that we're putting together, I'd like to say that the pharmaceutical industry says they're set, they're ready for any eventualities that comes to the prevention side. But when it comes to the real deal, which is when people get pneumonia, when people have to use ventilators, that's where the country is really falling short. So we better move the conversation from just people producing sanitizers to the real deal. How do we take care of sick people when they get critical? These are the conversations that we'll be hearing about in the next documentary. I've been sitting with various pharmaceutical associations after the president made the appeal for local production of essential personal protection equipment.
Were there to be a surge, we have not got there yet, but were there to be a surge in the incidence of this pandemic in Ghana, we would all unfortunately discover that we are very naked to deal with it. And I felt that you, the leaders of the pharmaceutical industry in our country, together with some of the leading bankers here, the regulators of the industry, officials of government, and we can come together in this coalition, we can then begin to address these deficiencies in a really systematic and programmatic manner.
An earlier announcement of $100 million for the prevention and containment of COVID-19 from the president shows from these interviews that I have conducted that government does not have the money.
At my prompting, the Minister for Finance has made available the CD equivalent of 100 million United States dollars to enhance our coronavirus preparedness and response plan. That is to fund the expansion of infrastructure, purchase of materials and equipment, and public education.
We've all heard that government has given $100 million, but yesterday we met the finance minister. Well, they have a commitment to get 100 million. There's a difference between we have 100 million and we are sitting down. I don't think the 100 million is sitting down, but they are working very hard to make it available. Some available. He mentioned about $35 million to be easily available. But we are not waiting for those things. It's a call. We have to really see what we can do. Once it comes and it helps, that is okay.
The current situation from the 30 manufacturing companies under the Association of Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Companies currently have the capacity to produce prevention personal protection equipment and sanitizer.
We've agreed that the material that we have, which we are going to use for producing medicine, we are going to allocate them to produce hand sanitizers.
Ghana will not move past this stage successfully, and that is why the $100 million would have been needed.
Unfortunately, once it becomes serious and you move into the pneumonia level, then you need a real treatment. Those products, some have been banned from UK, and India is restricting some materials.
Government owes service providers who use pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical companies indicate if government pays this money, it will change a lot.
Currently, I must say that we have contract with the service providers. And the service providers also have contract with NHI. What we want is for the service providers to pay for the supplies. So Ministry of Finance is going to raise bond that is going to pay for the outstanding NHI claims. Then they will also make sure that they pay on monthly basis to the tune of almost 70 million Ghana cedi to the service providers every month.
This may be Ghana's chance to look at being a pharmaceutical hub for at least West Africa.
Most of the French-speaking countries do not have manufacturing facilities, and we can be providing the services to them. As at now, if you look at infusions, mostly the Ghanaian companies export to most of the French-speaking countries, and that is why we expect government to increase his interest in local manufacturing so that we can make Ghana the hub for West Africa.
Government has, however, shown some level of commitment to the sector in the past. 9 companies are expected to benefit from some 300 million cedis by close of the year from the Exim Bank.
When I met the president, he said 302 million cedis is what he has allocated so far, and he said he has paid 192 or 196 million. But we are all at various stages. So we need them to, at least before the end of the year, if these facilities can be given the funds to complete so that Ghana can boast of new facilities that meet international standards to be able to supply Ghana and also start exporting. That would be very good for the country.
The Ministry of Finance has promised to also take taxes off the 3 main ingredients for producing hand sanitizers. Food and Drugs Authority is also contributing its quota.
We've agreed with FDA, the chief executive of FDA, that when we submit samples for registration, it will be done in 24 hours. Kina Pharma will submit a sample of a hand sanitizer to FDA, and we expect to have the approval by Friday. On Monday, we are going to give out more than 1,000 liters of hand sanitizers to be donated and given out to hospitals, clinics, and even to the presidency.
By Monday, there will be a glut for sanitizers, but will this support for local manufacturing just end at the corona vanishing into thin air as many wish it will? Currently, Ghana produces only 33% of its drug consumption needs.